good cause. Does the media not remember that at the 2016 Al Smith dinner, Hillary Clinton accused Trump of being a Russian stooge, of being sexist, and of having mental issues? It was mean-spirited, and it was funny. Barack Obama took numerous cheap shots at John McCain and vice versa. It was mean, it was funny, it was good. The left will always villainize Donald Trump, but Catholic Charities will always remember Trump as a good sport. Common sense is not saying Kamala Harris will not be remembered as a good sport, but when it comes to competition, a bad sport is better than being a no-show. Well, comedian Jim Gaffigan joined former President Trump and many other famous folks at the traditional Al Smith dinner in New York City last night. And as we've noted, Kamala Harris was a no-show. Let's bring in the Federalist elections correspondent, Brianna Lyman, and the author of Progressively Worse, Fox News contributor Joe Concha, out with a new book. Joe, congratulations on that. Here is Jim Gaffigan, a little bit more at the dinner. Let's show this, and then we'll get your response, Joe.
Catholics will be a key demographic in every battleground state. I'm sorry, why is Vice President Harris not here? In her defense, I mean, she did find time to appear on The View, Howard Stern, Colbert, and the longtime staple of campaigning, the Call Her Daddy podcast.
It's pretty good swipes there at Kamala Harris, Joe. You know, the whole theme of this is that she didn't show up and the media the next day attacks Trump.
Trace, let's be clear. Whoever advised Kamala Harris to not attend the Al Smith dinner, a dinner that every Democrat has been invited to for decades, and the last Democrat who didn't show up was 1984. That was Walter Mondale, and we saw how things ended for him. Whoever told her to stay away should be fired or seek employment elsewhere. By the tens of millions, Trump is everywhere on social media, and the rare occasions where it's almost positive for him, his performance last night was applauded, and meanwhile, she is getting killed for not showing up. I mean, The jokes were amazing, and Kamala Harris, by not being there, showed that she looked afraid. And that's not how you want to look 17 days before an election, Trace.
And a lot of people were saying that she was upset at her people because she thought she should have been there. So she sent in a video, Brianna Lyman, and here's part of that video.
I'm Catholic, and tonight is one of the biggest dinners next to the Last Supper.
And it's an important tradition that I'm so proud to be a part of. Is there anything that you think that maybe I shouldn't bring up tonight?
Well, don't lie. Thou shalt not bear false witness to thy neighbor.
Indeed.
So the SNL-type skit was, one, a bad idea, and two, bad idea not to show up, Brianna. What do you think?
Yeah, that entire video was cringe. She would have been better off skipping the dinner and owning it than supplementing her absence with that video. And the reason it was such a flop is because it had two main problems. It was inauthentic and insincere. And she, as a candidate, has faced criticism for those two very things. And you juxtapose it with Donald Trump. He was funny. He was on point. He was shooting the breeze with Chuck Schumer, who apparently hates him. And that made Donald Trump come across as likable and authentic, something Kamala Harris is struggling with. So the American people got to see two different candidates last night, one that showed up and was likable, and one that was absent and was not funny.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Meantime, MSNBC's Donnie Deutsch, Joe Concha, says, if Trump is elected, the world, it just ends. Watch.
Do they not understand that our freedom is on the line? You do understand that he will turn on this country, and he will turn us into Hungary. It will continue by putting his enemies in jail.
And the zombies, Joe. He didn't let. If the soundbite went on, it's the zombies and the outer space people. It just goes on and on.
Trace, it's beyond ridiculous. It shows you that the difference between genius and stupidity is that genius has its limits. And when you watch MSNBC, you really feel stupid after watching it. The bottom line is that Donald Trump was already president for 4 years, and all these things that people like Donnie Deutsch are predicting will happen aren't going to happen because we already saw they didn't happen when he was president in the first place. That's fear right there, playing itself out on live television, because Donald Trump right now is the odds-on favorite to win the presidency, and they know it.
He was in office for 4 years. They've been in office for 4 years. All you got to do is compare Don Lemon scolding black men who said they were voting for Trump. Here's what he told them.
I had to correct them over and over and tell them that stimulus check came from a Democratic Congress and from Nancy Pelosi, and that Donald Trump actually held the check up so that his name could be put on the check. So they think they got the check directly from him.
He had to correct them, Brianna, because they had it all wrong.
Yeah, it's Don Lemon this week. It's Barack Obama a few weeks chastising what he called, you know, the brothers for not voting for Kamala Harris. It's Joe Biden 4 years ago saying you're not black if you don't vote for him. Democrats have yet to grasp that identity politics is no longer a winning campaign tactic. It's why Kamala Harris, she puts a proposal out this week saying, I'm going to win over black men by giving them free loans and decriminalizing weed, as if that's the only thing they care about. Not only is it insulting, but it shows how out of touch Democrats are with the average American voter. And that's why Democratic base is moving toward Donald Trump.
Brianna Lyman, Joe Concha. Joe, congrats on the new book. Thank you both. Well, 3 decades after being